Let's start out with the defending champions, the Boston Celtics. They were consistently dominant last season. First third of the season, they were 21-6 with a 9.1 net rating. Second third of the season, 21-6 again with a 9.8 net rating. The remainder of the season, they were 22-6 with a 16.1 net rating before they went 16-3 in the playoffs with an 8.6 net rating. They won the finals. If it weren't for their Game 4 blowout loss, they would have had one of the 6 best playoff net ratings ever. Top 20, still amazing. So Boston last season trended up every third of the season. Right now on BetMGM, they're plus 325 to win the finals again. Those are the shortest odds to repeat since the 17-18 Warriors were minus 180 to repeat. That was their third title. That more than cemented them as a dynasty, which brings me to our first Is It Crazy question. Is it crazy to believe, just like those Warriors, that the Celtics haven't even peaked yet and they're on the verge of becoming the NBA's next dynasty?
Dynasty. You dropped the dynasty word.
Yeah. Is it crazy?
It is crazy because every dynasty has a top 10 player on that squad. Every dynasty that we've looked at in NBA history, you need to have one of those guys. And they've done it unconventionally by having Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown not being like super heavy MVP candidates, but still being on like a 70-win pace, or at least their point differential suggests that they're a 70-win team, basically. Are they dynasty material? I think you're crazy. I think the team, if I'm going to put stock in a dynasty or a future dynasty, it's going to be OKC. It's going to be on that team that has basically 25 and under studs across the board. And yes, it's not like Boston, they have a bunch of Al Horfords out there. You got Jayson Tatum, who's 26, Jaylen Brown, who's 28, Drew Holiday, yes, he's 34. But to me, I think it's premature to say dynasty. Another thing that I want to see is them go against Giannis. I want to see them go against Embiid. I want to see them go against the top of the top in the Eastern Conference before we start throwing around that D word. But given that the Eastern Conference has like a tier of by themselves, the Boston Celtics, I can understand why, you know, if the Celtics were playing in the West, it'd be a whole lot harder to get to that finals. But I think it's premature. I think you need to have a top 10 guy. I think you need to have a LeBron. I think you need to have a Steph, a Shaq, a Tim Duncan, a Larry, a Kareem. You need those guys to be on your team in order to have that sustainable next 10 years, every year going to be in the conversation. To me, I think it's premature.
Is it possible Tatum can get to that level? Is it possible? I mean, he's only going to be 26 this season. You got Tatum and Brown. They're two of the NBA's most durable stars. They've improved every year of their career. Tatum is, 7th or 8th best player in the league. He has improved every single year of his career. Even when he was shooting like crap in the finals, he still was making a positive impact as a playmaker and as a defender. What if Tatum gets a bit better in the opening preseason games for Boston? Tatum's shot did look more fluid. Yeah. It looked better. So is it conceivable here that Tatum can become that top 5 guy in the prime years of his career when you got, look, I doubted Boston all of last season. I was so wrong about Boston. You as well, you're raising your hand.
Yep. I picked Dallas in 6, maybe.
Them. Yeah. I think I said Dallas in 6 too. And I was so wrong about them. And then you got a summer in which Tatum makes Team USA, but he gets benched. Brown gets snubbed. Everybody's still doubting Boston. You got Joe Mazzulla, their crazy head coach, saying, everybody says defending champions, we're the attacking champions. So you got the Celtics with an edge. Like they look like they're out for revenge, even though they're the champions, attacking, defending, and whatever you want to call it, Joe Mazzulla. So I think about Boston from that standpoint, but also just the fact that they have paths to improve as well. Besides Tatum and Brown, Derek White might be 30 years old, but he ran more pick and rolls per game last season than he did in his entire career. What if White continues getting better? What if Peyton Pritchard, their backup point guard, continues getting better? He's already a high-level backup point guard. What if Sam Hauser continues getting better? You got Jordan Walsh, who they drafted last year. I loved Jordan Walsh as a prospect when he went to Arkansas. What if Walsh becomes a two-way guy, hitting spot-up threes? Versatile, hard-nosed, Tony Allen-style defense for old Celtics fans. I just think Boston, like they entered last year saying, okay, we're going to give this 2 years with Tatum and Brown before it gets too expensive. And if it doesn't work, then we'll shuffle the deck and figure things out. But now you have an organization, Grossbeck's going to be selling the team, but they're doing everything they can to be trying to win a championship right now. So I went from feeling Boston's not going to win the finals to them winning it, and this full offseason happens, to feeling like who's really going to beat them in the East? Because I know they hadn't seen anybody in the postseason last year, but assuming great health for all teams, are you really picking Milwaukee or Miami or Philly over Boston? I'm not so sure that you are.
Yeah, but when you're throwing around the dynasty word, Kevin,
That's
a little bit different.
That's a big word. It's a big word.
Doesn't it make it
repeating? But if they repeat, suddenly that conversation does start.
Yeah, but in order for the Kevin Durant and Steph Curry team to repeat, they tried to do a three-peat. They got the repeat, but that was the only repeat of the last decade. And there have been 3 repeats in the last 2 decades, and they all had multiple all-time players on the team. Is Jayson Tatum an all-time player? Yeah, but is he top 10 like LeBron James is? Is he top 30 all-time?
What if you don't, though? What if it's changed? What if having 6 top 40 guys is better than having 1 top 5 guy?
Sure.
Like, what if it just is?
I hear that. And like after the finals, I wrote that piece about how the NBA might be just about the big 5 rather than the big 2 or the big 3, that you need 5 guys who are playing at an all-star level because of injuries and because of, just the different dynamics in the CBA. It might make more sense to have 5 all-star caliber, maybe not like 3 first team all NBA talents like the Miami Heat did back in 2012, or Draymond, Steph, and KD. But the thing about it is, you got a 7'3" guy coming off a pretty serious foot injury with Kristaps Porzingis, and he was a big part of what they were doing last year. And if you want to say, hey, they got Al Horford, dude's 38. So they're like an injury away from having Luke Kornet as their starting 5, and he was good last year. And I think they were like 7-0 or 6-1 when he was starting with the Celtics. But I'm a little nervous about Kristaps Porzingis long term because of all of those injuries adding up to that left leg. But he was sensational last year. I think he wildly exceeded expectations in Boston, but I'm still nervous about a 7'3" dude with leg problems and potentially a pretty bad foot problem.
Absolutely. And that's the number one concern of Boston, is the health of Porzingis. Like, going in order of the standings last year, Boston, it's Porzingis. Knicks, they're definitely a finals threat without a doubt. I believe you and I both agree on that, but they're a new group. Sometimes it takes teams time to gel, years to gel, like it did for Boston. Bucks are a threat with good health. Lillard apparently is in tip-top shape this season. Middleton, we'll see. He's on the older side as well. And Doc Rivers has blown enough 3-1 leads that I have concerns there. Cavs, good, but I don't think they're a finals threat. Magic will be better. I think they could be a top 3 seed, but they're not quite there yet to me as a finals threat. Pacers are not there yet. Sixers, they definitely could be a finals threat. I think Maxey could improve, and Embiid needs to prove he can stay healthy, but they are a threat as well. And the Heat don't have Boston's depth of top-end talent. I'd say there's 4 teams in the East that can win the finals: Boston, New York, Philly, and Milwaukee.